We will dig into the history of these trusts that was created back in the 13th century and has enslaved all humanity on the earth ever since. So that you are a slave to the Roman Empire since your birth. Your birth certificate is a contract with Rome, which basically declares you dead, and lost is sea. We will dig into the history of these trusts that was created back in the 13th century and has enslaved all humanity on the earth ever since. Unum Sanctum is one of the most frightening documents of history, and the most quoted as the primary document of the popes claiming the global power. In 1302 Pope Boniface issued his infamous papal bull Unum Sanctum, the first express trust. He claimed control over the whole planet, which made him king of the world. Furthermore, we declare, we proclaim, we define that it is absolutely necessary for salvation that every human creature be subject to the Roman Pontiff. Unum Sanctum, His Holiness Pope Boniface VIII, November 18, 1302. It is not only the first trust deed in history, but also the largest trust ever conceived, as it claims the whole planet and everything on it, conveyed in trust. In celebration of the trust, he commissioned a gold-plated headdress in the shape of a pinecone, with an elaborate crown at its base. The pinecone is an ancient symbol of fertility and one traditionally associated with Baal, as well as the cult of Cybele. It also represents the pineal gland in the center of our brains. Crystalline in nature, which allows us access to source, hence the 13-foot-tall pinecone in Vatican Square. Pope Boniface VIII was the first leader in history to create the concept of a trust, but the first testamentary trust, through a deed and will creating a deceased estate, was created by Pope Nicholas V in 1455, through the papal bull Romanus Pontifex. This is only one of 3 papal bulls to include the line with the incipit for a perpetual remembrance. This bull had the effect of conveying the right of use of the land, as real property, from the express trust Unum Sanctum, to the control of the pontiff and his successors in perpetuity. Hence, all land is claimed as crown land. This first crown is represented by the first Cestui Que Vie trust, created when a child is born. It deprives us of all beneficial entitlements and rights on the land. The second crown was created in 1481 with the papal bull Aeterni Regis, meaning eternal crown, by Sixtus IV, being only the second of 3 papal bulls as deeds of testamentary trusts. This papal bull created the Crown of Aragon, later known as the Crown of Spain, and is the highest sovereign and highest steward of all Roman slaves subject to the rule of the Roman pontiff. Spain lost the crown in 1604 when it was granted to King James I of England, by Pope Paul V, after the successful passage of the Union of Crowns, or Commonwealth, in 1605 after the false flag operation of the Gunpowder Plot. The crown was finally lost by England in 1975, when it was returned to Spain and King Carlos I, where it remains to this day. This second crown is represented by the second Cestui Que Vie trust, created when a child is born, and by the sale of the birth certificate as a bond to the private central bank of the nation, depriving us of ownership of our flesh and condemning us to perpetual servitude, as a Roman person or slave. The third crown was created in 1537 by Paul III, through the papal bull Convocation, also meant to open the Council of Trent. It is the third and final testamentary deed and will of a testamentary trust, set up for the claiming of all lost souls lost to the sea. The Venetians assisted in the creation of the first Cestui Que Vie Act of 1540, to use this papal bull as the basis of ecclesiastical authority of Henry VIII. This crown was secretly granted to England in the collection and reaping of lost souls. The crown was lost in 1816, due to the deliberate bankruptcy of England, and granted to the Temple Bar, which became known as the Crown Bar, or simply the Crown. This third crown is represented by the third Cestui Que Vie trust, created when a child is baptized. It is the parent's grant of the baptismal certificate, title to the soul, to the church or registrar. Thus, without legal title over one's own soul, we will be denied legal standing and will be treated as things. Cargo without souls, upon which the bar is now legally able to enforce maritime law. A Cestui Que Vie trust is a fictional concept. It is a temporary testamentary trust, first created during the reign of Henry VIII of England through the Cestui Que Vie Act of 1540 and updated by Charles II, through the CQV Act of 1666, wherein an estate may be affected for the benefit of a person presumed lost or abandoned at sea, and therefore assumed dead. Each Cestui Que Vie trust, created since 1933, represents one of the 3 crowns representing the 3 claims of property of the Roman cult: real property, on earth, personal property, body, and ecclesiastical property, soul. Each corresponds exactly to the three forms of law available to the Gala of the bar courts. 1. Corporate commercial law, where the judge are the landlord. 2. Maritime and canon law, where the judge is the banker. 3. The Talmudic law, where the judge is the priest. So, while it might be difficult for some to completely understand the meaning of the Sestu Eqvi trust, what I have presented here are the history of how it was made. I have found a video that explains how this basically works, by them creating a straw man of yourself, based on your birth certificate, which is nothing but a slave contract with the Vatican.
Market wizard Larry Benedict is one of the few experts who accurately predicted the 2022 stock market collapse. In January, he told a reporter all indexes will be negative for the year. Almost immediately, the market tanked. The Nasdaq posted its worst start in history. The Dow, its worst start since World War II. But while most folks lost money, Larry showed those following his work how to not only avoid the carnage, but profit from it. The same thing happened in February 2020. The Dow had already fallen 3.5%, and Larry told CNBC, "It seems like there's much more to come." Within a month, the market plummeted 34%. Now, if you missed Larry's previous predictions, please pay close attention. For the first time, he's coming forward to share an even bigger and more urgent forecast. It involves a massive change to the market that he believes will catch most people by surprise. Those at or near retirement are especially vulnerable. You'll want to hear exactly what he has to say. Plus, he'll also share how to protect yourself. It's unlike any strategy you've ever heard before, and he'll give you all the details in today's program. During the 2008 financial crisis, the stock market fell 37%, yet one man, hedge fund manager Larry Benedict, posted 23% gains. He delivered $95 million in pure profit to his clients. In the first half of 2022, he did it again. During the worst market in 50 years, those following his work saw double and triple-digit growth. What's his secret? As you'll discover, Larry doesn't invest the traditional way. His approach has nothing to do with buy and hold, and it flies in the face of everything a financial planner would ever tell you. In today's interview, he's agreed to come forward and reveal his unique method, including the name of the ticker symbol you need to get started. Larry Benedict, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, well, Larry, you're one of the few dozen people in the entire world to earn the label Market Wizard. I know you don't like to brag, but in fact, a whole chapter was written about you in the best-selling series Market Wizards. We actually have the book right there. There you are, right after billionaire Ray Dalio. But from what I understand, your approach is different than Dalio, Paul Tudor Jones, or any other wizard.
That's right. It's unlike anything you've probably ever seen. I call it the one-ticker retirement plan. But put simply, it's designed to help you make all the money you need in any market using just one ticker.
Okay, now Larry, I'm sure those watching at home are thinking, really? Just one ticker? That's impossible.
I know. I don't blame you for being skeptical, but I've been using this